Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Juan Devares. I'm the Live Animals Product Manager for Delta Cargo. I work alongside Dr. Nelva Bryant. Her and I are part of the Live Animals product team, and we currently working in developing a better service for the public, the general public, and a better transport for live animals as a whole in cargo. So here's a brief agenda of what I'm going to be talking about today. So we have done some recent changes to the Delta Live Animals program, where we want to go, and the future handling of live animals for Delta Cargo. Just keep in mind, this is all related to cargo. Our passenger colleagues, they have a different department that handles live animals as excess baggage and live animals in cabin. We only deal with live animals in cargo. So here's some recent changes that we have done to the live animals program for Delta Cargo. Back in 2 years ago, Delta Cargo used to have 3 acceptance checklists for live animals. They have one for cold-blooded, one for warm-blooded, and one for pets. It turns out that we actually run a risk assessment program to see what risks and mitigations we could have, when handling 3 different checklists for the acceptance staff. We found that it would be a lot better for the acceptance staff just to have one unique acceptance checklist where they could just go and and accept live animals rather than having 3 different ones where, they could pull the wrong one and start from, let's say they grab a cold-blooded one for a warm-blooded animal, and that will bring just problems in itself. So we just came up with one checklist as a whole, and it has been doing great for us in that respect. We also had a 12-hour restrictions on warm-blooded animals. We changed that policy to allow, as we have many different flights longer than 12 hours, either to Southeast Asia, even Africa, from Atlanta and JFK. So we actually got away from that. We did put in place different requirements for pets when traveling on flights over 12 hours. So that's actually one of the changes that we have done for the program. Another change that we actually did was the shipper certification and journey declaration. We think that it was a key piece of information was missing when transporting live animals. Whenever we went to a reservation, all we used to see, let's say for shipping of birds, we used to see birds only. We didn't know what kind of birds we were transporting, and the same thing happens with zoo animals, for example. We needed to know what kind of animals, what kind of species we were transporting. One, in case of escape or anything like that, if it is a venomous snake, what to do, how we handle it. So we came up with this shipper certification, which is part of the it's within the IATA LIR, and it's been working great for us. We gathered a lot of information. It took some time for the shippers to get used to it. However, right now they got used to it. They've been doing great, and it's been a work in progress for us. Another part of the changes that we've done is the live animals regulations training for all acceptance staff. We felt, I think when Dr. Bryan was presented, somebody asked the question if the handling staff was properly trained in live animal handling. So this came into place. We actually did 4 sessions. We brought somebody from IATA to the hub to Atlanta in order to train most of the staff around the hubs. And we're going to continue to do so now. We wanted to expand that program all throughout our network, not only for the hubs, but we're going to be expanding later this year, or at the beginning of next year. We're going to be expanding that training to all of their hubs and other outstations as well. So we're going to first train the key stations for live animals, the one that handle the most. But our purpose is to train every single one station in the proper live animal handling. Also, we had a transit point for Atlanta. Dr. Ryan and I, again, we do some station surveys as well. We go and visit the stations, and we want to make sure that one, we have the proper facilities not only to handle pets, but also to handle any other species of live animals. We had a T-point, as we call it. It's a transit point in Atlanta, which was not the most adequate for live animals. And once we actually point that out to Delta leaders, the T-point was completely refurbished. They installed a air conditioning room, temperature control room at the T-point. So we want to make sure that all those animals that are transiting Atlanta have a proper and adequate place to stay while in transit. Last but not least, is basically tracking. We in the mid stages of doing this new tracking app, well, not app, but process for us. And what that does, we'll be able to determine where any shipment of live animals is at any given time, except when it's in flight. So with, let me just go here and explain it more in details right here. This is just a part of our live animal page where our employees actually go to gather information and request information when if they have any particular shipments of live animals and they're not sure. They have a live animals inbox where they can reach to in case they have any questions. And on this page, all of the forms that we currently utilize are up to date, and they could just go and download it and make sure that they have the latest and current version of any forms that we use. So this is the tape that I wanted to talk about a little bit more. It's called Smart Car. It's Traconomy. And what it does, it gives you real-time tracking of any shipments. This is not only for live animals. We actually doing it for other shipments as well, other products. But we want to make sure that our live animal shipments have it. If you look at this over here, that tape, as you could call it, that has the Delta logo. So that's the tape that is put on every single box of that live animal consignment. And with that on, we have in every single station, at least at the hubs, we have some trackers. So every time that box passes through next to a tracker, it picks up that that signal from that box. So we know at all times what that shipment is within the warehouse, and even when it goes out to the tarmac and onto the ramp. Like I said before, the only time that we are not able to receive real-time tracking, it's when that shipment gets loaded onto the aircraft. But once it comes down from the aircraft, when it's offloaded, it goes back online again, and we could see that it has arrived at destination. And we not only can see that, but we could also see which part of the warehouse it's being kept at. So this is basically a view, bird's eye view of what our CCC, as we call it, Cargo Control Center, will see when they tracking a device or tracking a shipment. I'm sorry. So all this tracking, it's going to sit at our Cargo Control Center. They'll be able to tell anybody from Delta what the shipping is at any given time. Unfortunately, this is not available to it will not be available at the beginning stages to the customer. It will only be giving access to the Delta staff later on, after we do the testing and everything is confirmed, we're probably gonna expand that to give the access to our customers as well, so they can see what the shipping is at all times. But like again, like I said, this is just basically a view of what the tracking will look like for our control center, and in order to be able to see what the shipping is at all times. I think this is a very good piece of information. One thing that we actually will do for the live animal shipments, so that little tape, we don't not only give you a location, but it also will give you temperature and humidity as well. For other products, we will not use those parameters, but for live animals, because it's so important for us to know what the temperature is like, what the humidity is like, and at any given point, those two pieces of information will be added to the tape as well. So that will help us a lot in determining a lot of things, if something should happen. So basically, this is what we want to be and where we want to go in the future. To us, we believe that training is paramount for the success of the company, and that's why we are investing in live animals training. IATA live animals training for all their staff. Like I said before, it will be all across the board. We already done 4 sessions with some of the folks from different hubs, but we're going to extend that throughout the network. One of the things that we have done as well in preparation of the relaunch of the PET program, we acquired 20 minivans for pet transport. They have already been placed at the different hubs that we have in some key cities as well, depending on the amount of pets that we have or we will have. We're just working on the branding at the moment. As you can see in the middle, that's the top branding that we have at the moment. There's still some discussions of whether it's going to be that or something else, but so far this is the one that we will probably go with. So we want to make sure that our pets are always protected. And we're not only going to be using this for pets. If the shipment fits inside the van, it will be transported there to and from the aircraft. We are also securing other type of transportation, like cool dollies and things like that for the various shipments of day-old chicks and things and species that requires temperature control and ventilation at all times. And then we wanted to be CIB certified for live animals. Currently, Delta only has a CIB certification for pharma, but our goal is to be CIB certified for live animals as well. We actually compare ourselves with the major airlines that transport live animals and that they have good experience in transporting live animals and expertise. Where are we at the moment? 2 years ago, and there was not much that Delta had to offer our customers and offer the live animal sector. But where we want to be, it's basically comparable to the major airlines across the globe that have expertise in transporting live animals. So this is basically a comparison between Delta and the key players of that transport live animals worldwide. This is something that we are gearing up to do in Atlanta. We feel that Atlanta, being the hub and the headquarters for Delta, there's no way that we shouldn't have a live animals facility. We have identified a few places within the airport. For us, it has to be within the airport because it has to be a bonded warehouse, so to speak. We don't want to take the live animals outside of the airport. That brings a totally different number of risks associated to that. So we wanted to keep it in-house, just the same as KLM has in Amsterdam with the KLM Animal Hotel. Same thing that Lufthansa has in Frankfurt. We want to do the same thing in Atlanta. So we are actually working on the business case to make this happen. As you can see here from that picture, the yellow means all the in-transit shipments. The red will be imports and the green will be export. As you can see, none of them will interface with each other. That's one of the key things that we want to have. It's just that separation between different animals and different health that may have different health status when being transported. So this is the our next step in developing the live animals program. And I think it's looking really good for us, and hopefully we'll be able to complete this not so long from now. But like I said, we have identified a few places within the airport grounds that are not being utilized, and I think we should be able to do it within the next maybe year or so. Thank you for your attention. And yeah, this is my information, as well as I'm sure you have Dr. Brian's as well. But yes, I mean, you could reach out to us at any given time. We are excited about moving the live animals program what it needs to be. Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to serve you, in the next coming years or so.
Okay, if you guys have questions in person, please raise your hand. If you are virtually, please put it in the Q&A at the bottom of the Q&A section.
Okay, I have an online question. What is the difference between an animal that in excess baggage versus cargo? Where are the excess baggage animals placed in the plane? Separate cargo section? Is it separate from the cargo section when the animals are placed?
Very good question. It's a very, very good question. No, so they are placed in the same cargo hold as the cargo animals, as any other cargo, any animal that is being transported in cargo. The only difference is the way that they are handled. So the excess baggage, you go to your ticket counter, a bag tag is placed on the kennel, and then it goes down then they'll take it down to the ramp onto the aircraft. In cargo, it's a little bit different. So we use our vans, and there's an automobile involved in that, but they are placed in the same cargo compartment on the aircraft. It's just the handling of them. When you transport a pet in cargo, for example, you have to go pick it up at the warehouse. When it's an excess baggage, it gets delivered to the baggage office at destination.
Okay, Chad, you have a question over there?
Juan, I have a question about the cargo safe tape or
Yes.
smart tape.
Okay.
When it's on the aircraft, is it still going to be recording temperature and humidity, but that signal is blocked when it's on the aircraft?
Very good question. No, it will be blocked, unfortunately. So for the time being, let me just rephrase. Just for the time being, we did get approval from the FAA to have it on, but they said, well, you have to make sure that it's off the minute that comes on inside the aircraft. We are working on the next step is to allow at least the recording of those two parameters for temperature and humidity. Even if we don't send the signal to the main hub, but at least we gather that information and then we could download it at the destination. So we are working through that process at the moment. So hopefully within the next 6 months, we should be able to offer that as well.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, do we have any other questions in the session here? Oh.
Hi, Juan, thank you. I really appreciate you and Dr. Bryant's work to ensure welfare. That slide where you're trying to come into compliance or have the same program as Lufthansa, I forget the other ones, that took a few years. Can you tell me what was, in your opinion, what was the biggest hurdle to get to where you are now? And that is somewhat of a short time considering you were trying to get everything moving, and that's with a gigantic industry.
It's a very good question, actually. There's a lot that came into play. I think for us, and he's the way we had tackled the issues. So we are in international airlines, so we have to comply with government regulations, not only in the U.S. but also to all of the countries that we serve. So, for example, for the EU, their regulations are solely based on the IATA LIR, right, on the live animals regulation. So we said, okay, so let's do one thing. Instead of training our staff in different policies and procedures and different government regulations, let's just take the IATA LIR as a standard. We use it. Obviously, there are different country may have a more stringent regulation than the IATA LIR, which is they are the minimum. And then we take those and teach them aside as well. So they try to change the mentality or try to convince the organization to go in that direction. It was taking a long time for us. They understood finally that it is the way to go. And like I said, we also part of the training is to show and teach our staff, okay, so yes, in the US you have the IR, but in the US you have to do the X, Y, or Z. And having that knowledge and understanding of each and every country's regulation is, I think, is key for us and to the success of the company. But I'm glad that that the company understood that this is the way to go, at least as we see it. And they let us develop the training and bring people in to get our staff trained.
Okay, Karen, I think you have a question over there.
Yes. Has Delta or any airline you are aware of monitored actual animal matrix during transport? If not, would there be interest in collaborating with other agencies to do so?
I'm not sure of any company that is doing that, but yes, by all means, we want to get better. We want to do better. But not only for us as Delta, but also for the entire aviation community, whether we can collaborate with American or even United if they bring the PEX program back. We'll be more than happy to collaborate with anybody in order to to make it safer for everyone and for all the animals that we transport.
I have a couple more. Did I hear correctly that non-pets will be able to book van transport to and from the airport with future plans, as in the case of transporting zoo animals?
That is correct. So basically, if the shipment, if the consignment fits inside the van, so the 20 vans that we bought, they have different sizes. If your particular shipment does fit inside the van, it will be transported in that van. It will not be transported on a baggage car or anything like that. So if it does fit, it will go there. Like I said, they vary in sizes. However, at the main hubs like JFK, Atlanta, Detroit, they have the big events, and so you should be able to pretty much accommodate any shipments there.
All right, this one just came in. Acknowledgement number 3 on the shipper certification form gives consent for Delta to perform veterinary medical care in necropsy. What is the process Delta would use for veterinary care in necropsy that we must agree to on this form?
I believe that's, I believe we took that off. I don't know. I mean, you could send us an email because we believe we took that off already. Maybe somebody may be using a wrong form, but we would never do a necropsy unless we get authorization from the owner. But we will not do it. We will not get authorization prior to the shipment. We'll get it after if something should happen.
Okay. Is there any move to regulate animal traveling in the cabin? I see this as a growing area of concern, especially as we have mentioned in increased number of flights, flight parents posing as animal owners so as to avoid commercial transport or intermediate handler regulations.
That will be hard to determine. Unfortunately, I only look after the cargo side of the business. We have an ACS, Airport Customer Service department that looks after that side, everything that it goes into the cabin. I don't think they have any plans to do that, but I can surely find out.
Okay, one last quick one. Is the smart tape removed when the animal and crate are handed over to the customer?
Yes, it is removed. Yes.
Okay, well, everyone give a great round of applause for Juan. He will be joining us for our 4:30 session, and so we look forward to having him back again at the panelist.